Okay. Hello, fellow soul seekers. This is Christina McCarty, and I am super excited today. We are going to be speaking with Ingrid Essawova. I have been
Frisbee.
Frisbee, that's right, because we have Mr. Ingrid now in the picture. And so I have shared with you guys on and off about Ingrid and the wonderful experiences that I have had with her. And I am super happy that she decided to allow me to introduce her to you guys and to share a little bit about who she is. So before we get started, I just wanted to share a little bit. Ingrid is an entrepreneur, speaker, and author. She has helped hundreds of people peel emotional layers back off of their shoulders from betrayal, guilt, shame, self-judgment, and deaths. And her motto is, stand in the power of you to become your soulful self. And so I just thought I would kind of give that little bit of an introduction. And I was looking at your introductory page on your book, obviously, because that's kind of where I got that information. And I see that you went through your own pain, which is what really brought you to the mapping process that you created. And I was curious to know a little bit more about that. Being that you're a spiritual life recovery coach and intuitive, and I know from experiencing for myself how amazing it calls into you. Is that how you created the mapping program, or how did the inspiration for that come about?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on board. It's always my honor, and I'm available to you anytime you want. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So yes, the emotional boot camp, which is the mapping system, you map a topic and there you have the emotional boot camp. It led me because I myself needed help. And I didn't need to go backwards to dredge up certain things that I've already been really, really healthy and productive with. I somehow needed help in another area, and I wasn't quite sure. And with the beauty of Google, you know, you have your research is vast. And you know what, Christina, I could not find one. I couldn't find any help whatsoever. So I remember back in California, and that's where I lived. There was, when you exit a certain mall, there's a big building and it's called Grief Recovery. And I always thought how amazing that energy is, just those words and who walks in that building. And it's, you know, I was thinking of little kids losing their parents. And one day I decided to call them and I go, I just want you to know, it's not death that I'm experiencing. You know, I still have everyone that I have issues with. They're still here and alive. And they go, dear, it is a death. It's just another level of death. And you just haven't grieved. So after I told her just briefly about what I'm going through, she's like, you need grief recovery. So I'm like, so the missing pieces, I was able to figure it out in terms of the mindset, in terms of the mind management. So I took care of the brain, but I didn't 100% take care of the heart. I maybe took care of the heart 10%. So putting these two together, so I got grief recovery. I loved it. Plus I integrated my own tools. And then I got certified. I loved it so much. And then I practiced it under their realm. And I just felt that there was something that was missing. And even the people that were taking it, they're going, we feel really good, but there's still something missing. So I took a 2-year sabbatical and I created my own, hence the emotional boot camp. And while creating my own, I used myself and my children as a guinea pig, because if I'm able to heal fully and completely, I know that my future clients can. And it was just too wonderful to share and keep to, it was too wonderful to keep to myself. And it was time to share. So yeah, my own pain, my own heartache, and the journey toward healing.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Does that answer your question?
it does. It does. Um, as far as the connection, because I know that you utilize connection with your guides, and you receive
Mhm.
information very clearly. I love when you
Yeah.
do that, when I see that you've received something and you say thank you. I wonder, is that something that you always had, or was it something that well, we always have it, right? But is it something that you connected with during that process, or how did you get connected with that part of who you are, and how you work and how you share with your clients?
Yes, I've always had it to a degree. Yes, it is a skill that we all have. I don't believe that it's a gift. I believe when a feather falls down in front of you and you look up and there's no bird, that is a gift. But the skill, we are all the same. Yes, this is a skill that I have developed over time, but I don't think I really understood that it was a download. I didn't think I understood the intricate part of it. And after I had a stroke in 2014, my brain was completely I just feel, let's say not 100%, but let's say 90% different after the stroke. And one of the skills that came through full fold were the downloads, along with other um, perception, intuitive, empathic um, skills were developed like 100 times fold. As you clear your wounds, the quieter you become and the more you can hear. So as I was clearing my wounds through the emotional boot camp, I became more in the moment. I became silent. I became more aware, and I was able to hear. Then when I started my purpose as my career, and I have clients in front of me, then it came full force. I understood what downloads were, and I get them many times a minute in many aspects.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know that for myself personally, eh, eh, the energy that you're able to create in the space that you work with is just absolutely amazing. And I know that I've been able to, walk in the door and instantly, of course, feel that it, I guess, higher state of connection for myself.
Correct.
I absolutely am still in awe about, because for myself, after 3 months, I've been working with Ingrid for almost a year. I guess maybe about
Wow.
9 months now. Yeah, I think it was December or
Wow.
January, so getting close to there. And I when after about 3 months, we did the the boot camp, the
The
energy,
emotional boot
the
camp.
emotional boot camp. And I'd like for you to dive a little bit deeper into that, if you could.
Okay. Wonderful. Tell me what aspect you would like to a little bit more about.
Well, I know that specifically for me, like, I know that you told me after the session was over that you don't always remember everything that came through, because it was coming through you versus coming from you, right?
Right,
And
exactly.
and
Downloads are interesting.
yeah, yeah. And so I guess I just would like to know a little bit more about that process for you from
Sure. So the downloads in conjunction with creating the emotional boot camp, and were the two related and all that? Is that what you're asking
Yes.
me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the boot camp was 100% download. Would I say that 100%? Some of it is common sense. Some of it is my experience, my skills, my creativity, and intuition, which is the download. So I would say the download let me rephrase, the download of creating the emotional boot camp was 90% and 10% was the other stuff that I mentioned. My creativity, my experience, my knowledge. So therefore, you know, I knew what being a problem solver and a troubleshooter and a problem solver, there's where that common sense is. You know, I lay out what I feel was extremely important that we need to speak about, what we need to heal when there is a given topic. Because in the emotional boot camp, you pick one topic. Let's say the relationship with your mother, right? That's that topic. There are certain things you absolutely need to get off your chest. So that's where the common sense comes in. And then the intricacy of having questions in a specific order, because the brain can only handle what it can handle, and it needs to be organized. So at the very beginning, we have things that we need to express and take out of our chest, like put off our chest. What the heck is that? What's the saying, for God's sakes? Take off our chest.
Yeah, to get it
Put
off
in
our chest.
Take off our chest. Dissect our chest. Okay, very good. So you have to take off your chest. You have to put it off your chest. And then the part after that, it's not in sections. It's just from questions 1 to 22. And then the next section is about observation of your behavior in the past, the present, and the future. And then it takes you to and throughout it also puts yourself in the other person's shoes as well. You see, but you can't do that until you take everything, you know, you're able to say everything you need to say. And some people don't know what to say. They don't know how to ask. They don't know how to, like their feelings. It's really funny. There was this question number 3. I put, you know, and how did this make you feel? Right. And I just left that as a question all by itself. How does that make you feel? And I realized that people in general, don't have a grasp of how they feel. And when we're talking about sad, angry, upset, okay, can we evolve a little bit more than that? So suddenly I'm putting, I don't know, how many are there? About 3 dozen feelings on there. And they're like, yeah, I feel that. Then they're circling each one. Yeah, yeah, oh my God, that one too. Yeah, hell yeah, right? But they couldn't come up with it all by themselves. So basically, people, I'm giving you all the answers based on experience, right?
Yeah.
So it's really getting in touch with the feeling. And then at the end, because everything is all about you, it really dives into the main issue, because the topic of your mother, for example, is only the trigger. The real issue is yourself, and you dive deep into that one. You peel it back like crazy. Now you've identified it. And sometimes you ask, by the way, what are we mapping again? And I go, your mother, because you forget, because you are now into the issue which had nothing to do with your mother, right? So here you are, and now you have a full closure section at the very end where you have all your forgiveness and all that thing. So here you have a complete, thorough, from A to Z procedure of how to clear a wound, because it is never about the topic. It's always about you and what you have to live with and what you have to live without. And the boot camp also allows you to express yourself in bottom line. I help teach people how to say less amount of words with the greatest amount of impact of going to the bottom line of everything. So you're not in the bushes. So not only are you able to express yourself because you are connected to yourself then, and these questions are questions that you ask yourself practically every day, in situations that you are in with other people, with things, because there's clues, and it's about your level of awareness. Like, okay, how do I feel? How did I used to feel? How do I feel now as it's happening? How do I feel when it's all over with? So you're becoming more connected to yourself. When you're more connected to yourself, your motherboard that you have within you is already perfect and complete, fully. The issue is that we're not fully connected to ourselves. We do have some cables connected, and that's why we can do certain things like we feel very content and joyous because there are parts of us that are connected. So what we're focusing on are the parts that are disconnected, and we connect them. So because ultimately, again, you as the motherboard have pure content, joy, peace, and you're always in the moment.
And then I know for myself, once we went through the first mapping that we went through, then we did the energetic session. It was almost like I don't know, maybe you could define it better for me, like a completion of that mapping session.
Are you talking about, did we do together the open heart?
Yes.
Okay. See, and I don't do it with everyone, because in some situations it's not necessary that the mapping alone just did it. You know, we and again, anyone that chooses to take my program gets to, I'm able to dive into it deeper, but on the surface, we block quite a bit of information, quite a bit of feelings. We are triggered both in the unproductive, unhealthy pathways which we choose for ourselves, and we also block in the most healthy, joyous times at times, because we hold on to that and we want it so bad. So that creates a blockage in our heart. And when we have blockages in our body, that creates stagnated energy, and it's a block. And then perhaps physical things can occur in conditions and ailments and disease. And also we see the world differently when there are blockage, when there are wounds. We hear things differently. Somebody might be saying boo, and we hear bow, but they only said boo. And that's because of the sensitivity of our wounds and the blockages and the rawness that it is. So the energy work that we did together was having the ability to release those blockages, surrender, release through a breathing mechanism and an action mechanism, which is very, very powerful, opening the heart. And that's some of the things that I go through when I have clients that come in and go through it a little bit deeper.
And it's individual based on each client and what their needs are. It's not like, okay, this is the program and this is how it's going to go. It's this person may need this or that. And so that the program's individual for each client, depending where they are and what their needs are. Is that correct?
Correct. And when we do Sanctuary of the Soul, which is a new church that is every week, I do the open heart as a group, because we just finished talking about a specific topic in depth where we peeled it back. So therefore, I will do that open heart based on that topic. So if there's any residual left over, as a group collectively, I do a generic open heart, let it go based on that topic we talked about.
And that's perfect that you brought that up, because that was going to be the next thing I was going to ask you about.
I might be intuitive.
So as everyone has heard me speak about, weekly on Wednesdays from 7 to 8:30, Ingrid offers Sanctuary of the Soul at the Urban Wellness Center in Phoenix off 7th Street and Monte Vista. And it has just been a wonderful group where she guides the topics that are going to be spoken about. And actually, sometimes the topics are brought to her from the conversations that come up for the following week, which has been very cool as well. And then we have an amazing discussion. And it's funny because I know, like, even in the flyer, it says it's not quite a church, and I have to say it's not the same thing as a church per se, because it's I consider it a discussion group, because it's not you talking at us, it's us all involving and talking together about the different topics, and you helping us guide through that. And I just have really gained so much from being there, and I love being there every week. So I know that when I was sharing with you about how I started this, and I said, I don't know really what I'm doing, but I know that I'm supposed to be doing it, so I am. And you shared with me that was the same guidance you got that brought you to start the Sanctuary of the Soul. And so I wanted to ask you a little bit more about that, and if you have a vision for it, for what it is, or maybe where you would like to, where it may go, and of course share with people. It's everybody is welcome to come. Anybody that has interest in wanting to deepen their conversations and to deepen their awareness in these spectrums is welcome to come. It's open for everyone. But anyways, if you could share more about that.
Absolutely. So I'll share about what it is, and you've done it so beautifully. Thank you. Thank you. So, I've had a lot of input when I was starting to think of the name. When I started talking about it, it's like a church. I had feedback from both sides. No, don't say this, don't say that. And then I chose what I chose. And I felt that the word church was so important, because I feel that many people want to reinvent how they think about a church. It works and is a fit for millions of people. And for those millions of people, bravo, great. They will go to their traditional church. Wonderful, it works for them. And others really want to do church, but they're just having some conflictions about it. So when I came to Arizona just a few years ago, I wanted to find a place of community, wanted to find a place where I can shift. But there were a few things that was not a match, not a fit with me, where the traditional church is. So this is still the same concept of going somewhere weekly, right? Where you know that every week this place is there, somewhere where you can share with a community that speaks the same language. That's why the word community is within the tagline. There is about connection. Now, the connection is the big thing. I myself believe in Jesus Christ, but I have a different relationship. I also believe in angels and guides and masters and Jesus and God and all that. But my relationship is different. It's a different path, and it works for me. Many people that come to Sanctuary of the Soul also believe in Jesus and God and have their own modality, but they're either missing something or there's something that they're not agreeing with. And I felt that the missing link to all of this is that we are ignoring ourselves. We are looking at ourselves as less than. And I personally believe that was not the plan. The original plan is to understand how powerful we are, how much we only use 3 to 7% of our brain, and the other 93% plus is those skills that I talk about. And we are absolutely able to make a difference. So if I can establish a place where we have insight and knowledge, then and awareness, then we can connect to ourselves, inspire others, have no judgment, have no expectations, have no attachments to the outcome, and simply love everyone equally. We can actually get to that point, and live in peace, harmony, and joy. And one can say, oh my gosh, how are we ever going to do that? You know what, how we're going to do it? One person at a time. If those Wednesday nights, there is just one concept that you look at it a little bit differently, and now it shifts within yourself, and now your reactions to certain people and certain situations are now a little different than they used to be before, then that means that energy has been projected to that person. And now maybe that person will have different reactions to another person. And it's a domino effect. And if I was able to do that to one person per week, I've done my job. And hopefully there's a little bit more than I've done for that, right? Yeah. So it's just a new mindset. Where do I want to go in the future? Well, I'll tell you, I, again, operate a little differently, very differently than most humans. Truly, in general, I don't have goals, because that means I have to look in the future. Because I'm able to be in the moment, and because I'm able to have downloads, I simply listen. So has my career, for example, because that's where people have the most goals, right? Career, money, da, 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 da. If you look at in Arizona, I've been here for 5 years. So, and I'm in the end of my third, almost fourth year, having Simply True, my company. If you look at my first year, my second year, my third year, you will see a huge difference financially. You'll see a huge difference in the profile, the platform, that you would think, oh, she must have done short and long-term goals. Did not, because I just simply listen. Time to start the church. Oh, the thing that you've been telling me for 15 years. It's time to do it now. Okay, it's time to do it now. Boom, it's done. It's time to now go into different corporations and start your program. Oh, okay, done. Boom. Because I believe timing is perfect. And I also believe manifestation is very important as well, a law of attraction, because you attract what you are. And if you put and you focus out there, what is it that where you want to go, that energy, you attract what you are, and boom, it comes quicker. But the thing is, my desires are maybe 2-3 things: to have one meal at least each day, make sure it's dairy-free, vegan, no, never mind, make sure that and the pork, and make sure it's from organic, no, and that I have a meal, that I have a beverage, that I have water, make sure it's alkaline, and that I have a safe shelter above. And a car that's functioning. So if I have that, I am golden. I am so blessed beyond blessed. And if I have anything more than that, which I obviously do, I am the luckiest girl in the whole entire universe and beyond. So usually people have the goals because they want things. They want to achieve, they have in their vocabulary, which is not in mine, success. right? And there's a why behind that. And it's just too much. I used to be that and achieved all that. I've lived the American dream. I've had things, those three things that I said, as long as I can pay for that, I got that, I'm golden. Anything other than that, how I'm so blessed.
Mhm.
So I think that my motivation of why is a little bit different. So where do I want to go with SOS? Everyone that comes that evening is exactly supposed to be there. I market as much as I can for my resources, my ability, and my time. I will increase that. Whoever comes, comes. Suddenly, if it comes to a point that the place is pretty full and people may start to get a little uncomfortable because it's full, I will find a new spot. And as big as it will get that way. As small as it will be that way. Because I said my goal is to reach as many people as possible with awareness. And if I even reach one, I've done my job. I have to at least have that one. I may have an attachment for that one, but then again, I don't. And I just got to download. No, you don't. I don't, because if it's not that night, it'll be another night.
Yes.
Or it'll be another day. It'll be another moment. So no, I don't. But I was trying to be funny. Okay. So,
I love
so
that.
that's that in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely love that. And, you know, it's funny you mentioned vocabulary, and you have a board on your wall in your space, and it is interesting because some of those words are words that we tend to strive for. And
Right.
you know, every time I come in, I sit there and read those words and contemplate that, because you know, like you said, success was one of the words.
Mhm.
Uh, I think self-worth is one of the words. And it's interesting the way that you talk about peeling things back. And once you get into right and wrong, and the fact that really, if you take away right and wrong and just look at your path, I love how you guide that, you know, because maybe what's right for me is not right for someone else, and maybe what's wrong for me is not wrong for someone else. So is there ever really a right and wrong? Well, maybe not. Maybe what it means is, like you always, like I'm learning, you know, it's not a match for me, and so that's
It's
not
not
my
the pathway. It's
yeah.
not the path for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I just absolutely love that.
I mean,
Um,
we've been, if I may interject, that we have been led to judge ourselves, never mind judge other people. And if we are and wrong or right, and then inflict guilt and shame. And the method that I have, there's none of that ever. There's simply a path, a match, accountability. So when there needs to be accountability, then there's procedures to take place and you're accountable, darn it.
it's
You know,
interesting because, of course, you know, I still get triggered. I don't know why that would be, but
we will work
you
on
know,
that.
you know, right? And like in the teachings of Abraham and Esther Hicks and the law of attraction, you know, they say that you know, contrast comes because then it helps you launch rockets in the direction of of things that you want in a different desire. And so
And look at that rocket. It's going in a path.
yeah. And so there's even judgment of that. And then when I consider that maybe the thoughts that I'm having could be a judgment on someone else, then I also have to look at, well, where where's my judgment within myself about that? Why does that come up for me? And so the accountability comes back to that, because then really, like you said right in the very beginning, it all comes back to you, because the truth is the issue is not the trigger. The issue is the underlying thing that was triggered that is actually about you.
Correct.
And so,
And that's why we are here on this plane. This is why this is our university. And this is why, you know, majority of the people are touched by all this, by experiences where then it may trigger pain and heartache and dissatisfaction.
I well, you know, but I've been on this amazing journey, and along with experiencing my coaching with you, I've been, following the law of attraction and working the book study with the Ask and It Is Given group at now. And then I was introduced to another gentleman that speaks up in Sedona, and it's just so wonderful and cool to me that I put out there the desire to dig in further, and every direction I go in gives me more of the same teaching, or more of the same, maybe different words, or maybe different philosophy or expression of it. And then even when I find something that maybe isn't exactly the same, right, then I'm able to bring myself back in and say, okay, that was fun to explore, and now I get to say that wasn't my path or my match, and I get to be okay with that and move forward in my direction. And I think it's so important that we all understand that each of our individual paths are our individual paths and our individual journeys. And that's what Ingrid teaches, is to really learn.
Find your match.
Yes. And I just love that. So I'm so grateful that you came on today to share with us. And I'm so grateful that I was able to introduce you to the people that choose to listen on YouTube. And I wondered if maybe you would be open to a little bit of a meditation guide before we close out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What should we focus it on? How about opening our minds?
I think that's
being open to different concepts, different paths, and understanding that there may feel an indifference. You're not used to it, so, it's like going into a new country that's very, very different, and you're like, okay, give me a minute, right? With the food and the people and the language and the smells and the atmosphere and then everything, So how about we do that? Does that sound like a plan?
Yes, that sounds like a great plan.
Wonderful. So everyone just take a deep breath and release. Let's take one more to be in the moment. And again, take a deep breath and release. And you can say to yourselves or out loud, however you feel comfortable, the following: I give permission to my higher self, to be in light and love at all times, and have a knowing for what's before me, and in my path. Take a deep breath. I give permission to my higher self to open the paths of my mind and feel connected to what is a match for me. There will be no judgments. I understand it may feel different. I only attract what I am ready for. I understand. I am mindful. I'm aware. And I am ready. Regardless how long it takes, how big it is, no judgment. Simply gratitude. Not only will I be aware what's in front of me, I also understand it is time to take action for what is brought to me. I am ready. I am ready. Take a deep breath and release. Take a deep breath, open your heart, and let it go. I am ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and open your eyes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
I really appreciate your sharing of your gifts.
Of course.
I absolutely love what you said about your desires and your goals actually not being projected out, but from simply listening. And you simply listen to your guides. And with that, you have created simplytrue.com. And if anyone, I'm just feeling the goodness. If anyone is interested in meeting Ingrid or learning more, I invite you to join us at the SOS on Wednesdays from 7 to 8:30 at the Urban Wellness Center in Phoenix off 7th Street. And if you are looking for a deeper connection or a guided inward journey and a deeper mapping experience, I highly recommend that you reach out to Ingrid. You can find her on her website at simplytrue.com. Her email and her phone number is there and available to you. Also, if you would like, Ingrid's book, The Emotional Dictionary to the Soulful Self, is available for purchase. You can find that link as well on her website. If you would like to purchase that and do some inner journeying on your own, you're more than welcome to purchase her book there. So thank you so much again for being willing to come and be my first interview with the journey, joining me in my journey. And I just really have so appreciated you in my life. And I am so grateful for the connection. And I really appreciate you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Love and light. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And thank you for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are a gem. So loved. Always.
Thank you. Okay, well, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
Sounds good. And I will be streaming live on Facebook.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yes.
That's wonderful to hear. All
Yes.
right. So
I will do this. I will do this.
That's so great. That's so great. Okay, well, thank you so much. And thank you so much to those of you that have popped on to listen and to meet Ingrid. And I'll be back again for another segment soon.
Wonderful.